Hey guys, it's Angel, and today I'm going to be sharing a brand new collection that was sent to me by Superchic Lacquer. This is the Cupid's Bow collection. The Cupid's Bow collection consists of 6 brand new super hollow shades and is set to launch Friday, February 3rd at 4 p.m. PST, which equals 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At least I'm like 99% sure that that's the same time. All of the colors are linked down below, along with everything else that I'm going to use today. So first I'm going to swatch all 6 colors, and then I'm going to do a little bit of nail art and show you how they sponge gradient together and how a couple of them stamp. So let's get started. For my base coat on all of the swatches, I used Superchic Lacquer Bring It On base coat, and I actually did 2 coats of base coat because sometimes Superchic polishes are so pigmented that they can stain your nails, but I find using 2 coats of base coat really helps. And you might notice a couple of dark spots on some of my nails. I recently got a couple of chips on some of my nails, and some dark polish from my last mani is just stuck in there, and I didn't want to mess with it because I didn't want to ruin my nails, so it'll just get filed off eventually. First up is Swoon, and it's described as a Barbie pink linear hollow, and yep, it's opaque on that first coat. It also has a really nice formula. It was smooth, easy to apply, went where I put it, wasn't flooding my cuticles. Just overall a really pretty polish with a good formula, and here you can see the second coat. It's not really adding much coverage to the nail, but it is just giving me more of an even surface. I think a lot of you are going to like this one because A, it's pink, and B, it's a hollow. Then I applied 1 layer of liquid macro top coat, which I will be using on all of the swatches. And here is a comparison of Superchic Trap Queen on the left and Swoon on the right. And as you can see, they are similar. Trap Queen is deeper, more of a raspberry fuchsia, as Swoon is just kind of a little bit brighter, but they are pretty close. And then on the other 2 nails, I applied Dart Through the Heart, described as a bronzed chrome. And a couple of things. First, I did not expect it to be this opaque on the first coat because in my experience, a lot of colors like this are often pretty sheer polishes, but this one is very opaque. And also, what a pretty color. And I know it's described as a bronze chrome, but it really just seems like it's a combination of bronze, copper, gold, rose gold. It's just such, I don't know how to describe it. I feel like it's a little bit of all of that. And I really enjoyed the formula on this one. I wouldn't call it super thin, and it's not thick. It's just kind of that perfect in between that I like, and it applied really nicely, smoothly. Basically, I love it. And here is Swoon and Dart Through the Heart together, and I wasn't really planning it, but I think they ended up looking really great together. I would totally wear these again. And Dart Through the Heart ended up being a surprise favorite. I was just expecting to be kind of meh about that one because they have a lot of colors like this, but I love this one. Next up is Cherub, described as a cherry red linear hollow, and yep, again, this one is opaque on that first coat. And I thought it had a pretty great formula. It applied nicely, evenly, smoothly, wasn't flooding my cuticles. The only thing I noticed about it was that out of all the 6 polishes, this one was the least hollow, the least hollowy. This one showed the least linear hollow effect. I'm not taking away from it though, it's still a really beautiful polish. But instead of throwing off those hollow rainbows, I did notice that it had a very glowy effect on the nail and had a sort of lit from within type of effect. So I do like it. And on the other 2 nails, I applied Flutter, described as a baby doll pink linear hollow. And I would say that compared to the other polishes, this one isn't as opaque on that first coat. But for me, I never really look at that as a bad thing because I always apply 1 more coat of polish at least. And it had a nice formula, smooth, even, easy to apply, no flooding of the cuticles. And I do really like this color. I actually am glad that I paired this with the red because I love pink and red together, especially for Valentine's Day. And the second coat just kind of smoothed everything out and gave a little bit more coverage, and I really love the hollow flare in this one. I thought it popped so nicely over this pink color. Again, I think people are really gonna like this one too. And here is a comparison of Superchic Rose Buddy on the left and Flutter on the right. I think they're very different. Rose Buddy is definitely more cool tone, while Flutter is more of a warmer mid-tone pink. And here is how Cherub and Flutter look together. I know I already said it, but I really love this color combo. And you can see what I was talking about earlier, how Cherub doesn't really have as much of a holo effect, especially as compared to Flutter, because I feel like Flutter was definitely one of the more strong holos in this collection. But again, it doesn't take anything away from Cherub. It is a beautiful polish. Next up is Dopamine, described as an alluring blue linear holo, and alluring isn't really descriptive in color, so I would call this a cerulean blue. It definitely reminded me a little bit of the ocean. And on my pinky nail, I think I was applying too much pressure because I kind of messed it up in a couple spots, but here on my ring nail you can see it's opaque in one coat. And this one also had a good formula, nice and easy to apply, no flooding of the cuticles. I sound like a broken record at this point. And this ended up being one of my favorite colors from the collection because it manages to be a very rich blue without being dark. If you own, a lot of blue polishes, you know what I mean. It can be too light and it's just kind of pale and wispy and what are you even, or it can be super dark and look black and a lot of lights, and this is just that perfect in between color. And last we have Pheromone, described as a beguiling yellow, and another very descriptive word. I would call this kind of a citron that leans a little bit chartreuse, and it has a very good formula, although it's not 100% opaque on that first coat. But I do not fault this color because I have never really met a polish in the yellow family that is opaque on that first coat. And honestly, this is one of the better yellow polishes that I've tried. It just seems like that's a very hard polish color to formulate. I think this is going to be one of those colors that you either love or you hate. I am in the love boat. Haha, get it? I'm weird maybe? I don't know, but I really like this polish and I love it paired with the blue. And here's how Dopamine looks with Pheromone, and I think they just play so nicely together. They just really make each other pop, and if you have a deeper complexion, I think Pheromone would look incredible on you. I love yellows and chartreuse type colors on deeper complexions. They just look mwah. Now that I got the swatches out of the way, I wanted to show you guys a little bit of nail art I did using some of the colors. And I know this is a Valentine's Day collection, but I was like, screw that, let's just do something bright. And Dopamine and Pheromone fit the bill, so I kept those on. Here I'm applying liquid latex. This is Bundle Monster Poly Peel because I'm going to be doing a gradient and it's going to be a little messy. And I applied the colors to a makeup sponge, and I did notice that the colors, the first stripe of colors kind of sank into the sponge quite a bit, leaving just like the silver hollow Spectra Flare pigment onto the top of the sponge. So I went and made sure I applied a second layer before I put it onto my nail. Then using an up and down dabbing rolling motion, I sponged the color onto the nail, and this was the first time I ever used Superchic polishes for a gradient, and holy shit, I was extremely impressed. They just blended so perfectly. A lot of times when doing gradients, you really have to work hard to get the colors to blend, but these basically blended themselves. It was pretty much perfect on that first coat, but I always have to do everything extra, so I applied a second layer. And if you are newer to nail art and you struggle doing gradients, I would definitely recommend trying out these polishes because it was so easy. I feel like anybody could do a good looking gradient with these polishes. I flipped the direction of the gradient on the other two nails, and I didn't say it on the other nail, but I was also super impressed at how well the yellow covered up the blue. That was pretty good. Then I removed my liquid latex, and I think I just did this out of habit because usually when I do gradients, I end up getting, pretty messy in between the little skin folds there, and I have to do my cleanup. And then once I was doing cleanup, I was like, oh, I could have just left this on and then stamped and then did the cleanup at the end, but it was just habit. So here I am applying my Bundle Monster Poly Peel again, just wasting product like it doesn't even matter. And then to prep for stamping, I apply one coat of yellow stopper to give the surface of my nail a tacky surface for the stamping to stick to better. I chose the Expressionism stamping plate from Winstonia. It's linked down below, and to blend the two colors together, I just scraped with my scraper twice. I used my Big Bling clear stamper so that I could have perfect placement of these reversed colors. And I loved how the blue stamped over the yellow. Like even though I really love how this came out, I kind of wished I just would have stamped blue over the yellow. Like, it looks so cool. Then I did a little cleanup using the Twinkle Tea No. 6 brush and 100% acetone. Then I applied a coat of liquid macro top coat to all nails, and even though at this point I had a lot of layers on my nails, I didn't feel like this mani got thick. So normally I prefer stamping with cream polishes over holo, or stamping with holo polishes over cream, because I feel like sometimes the definition can get lost when you go holo on top of holo. But with that being said, I still love how this came out. I'm wearing it right now actually, and I was really happy with this one. So that completes my swatches and first impressions look at the Cupid's Bow collection from Superchic Lacquer. So I'm curious to know what you guys think. Are there any colors that are screaming at you that you're just gonna have to pick up? For me, my two favorites ended up being a surprise dopamine, the blue, and dart through the heart, the bronze color, were my favorites. I was really surprised because I thought the two pink colors were going to be my favorite. So if you want to see more photos of the colors, you can follow me on Instagram at twy_star. I'm going to be posting them over there. And you can also follow me on Twitter and Snapchat, also at twy_star. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.